right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Welcome to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm your host, Josh Taylor, in tonight for Bob Pompiani. Joining me in studio, it's a face you're going to have to get used to on Mondays because new fixture added to the rotation. Tim Benz from the Trib.
I'm ready.
I couldn't run the resume down, but I don't want to leave anything out, so I'll let you.
Trib Live, DVE, Steelers pregame show, ESPN Pittsburgh, Duquesne play-by-play, Robert Morris play-by-play, USA Today. I think I got it all. Nightly Sports Call on Mondays and Wednesdays.
There's going to be a quiz later. Make sure you write all that down because he does that much. But that means he also knows that much. So it's good to have you on, especially since you do a lot with Steelers Nation
and
Radio.
Trib Live. Did I say Trib Live?
You mentioned Trib Live, too, which, of course, a lot of our history brings us back to those days. So, Yellowknife. Anyway, let's talk Steelers. Do you want to start with the situation going into this upcoming Sunday, or do you want to just completely break down yesterday? Because there's a lot to peel back there.
Well, we can start with what's hanging out there for the Steelers on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, because I think it's a problem. I think they're going to lose to their backups. I'm really down on what I've seen the last couple of weeks from the offense, to the point that I don't think their defense can overcome it anymore. I think the offense is broken. It goes beyond the quarterback situation. I think the offensive line is a mess. I think the running game is a mess. And what we saw from the wide receivers was atrocious in their attempt to try to help a couple of struggling quarterbacks, especially when it comes to the drops from, well, the wide receivers and Juju Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson, but the tight ends and running backs too. Jalen Samuels dropped one, Vance McDonald dropped one, and I don't know how that all gets better even against backups. The Ravens' backups are pretty good, and it's not like they're going to not want to keep the Steelers. They're going to love to keep the Steelers out of the playoffs. They're going to really enjoy that.
I imagine there's some bit of motivation there, and John Harbaugh talked about it today. Of course, we'll hear from him during KDKA News at 11. But he talked about how, this isn't college football. You still have to have some of your starters in. You can only have so many that you sit. The rest of your guys still have to play.
Well, I do think it's funny already. We're trying to talk ourselves into why the Ravens aren't going to be prepared to play the Steelers with their backups. But, boy, those Houston backups are going to take care of Tennessee, aren't they? Now, I know Bill O'Brien said that his guys are going to start and play. I don't believe it. I think that's a lot of show. I think they might start that way, but especially depending on what happens earlier in the day, I don't see them necessarily doing their all to make sure the Steelers get in and the Titans stay out, especially with the way that seeding formula may go. I don't know how you feel about it, Josh. I think there's a ton of credit that needs to be given to Mike Tomlin, the coaching staff, for keeping this team together. I think they deserve all the praise in the world, from going from 0-3 to then winning 8 of the next 11 weeks and getting in a position where they were holding a playoff slot after 13 weeks in the season. But that's the crucial part of the sentence. They had a playoff slot. 8 of 11 weeks, they were the better team on Sunday.
Wow.
8 of 11 weeks, they won the football game that they were playing. So I can't just blindly say, oh, well, they gave it the old college try, and those plucky Steelers, they were the little engine that could. Not when you got a home game against the Bills and Josh Allen. Not when you're playing the Jets and potentially somebody else's backups. I don't think you can just wipe the slate clean and say, oh, well, they gave it a good shot. This is the second year in a row where they've had a bad December that might cost them the playoffs.
I think that's where a lot of people's frustration comes from, because when you look at it just from the macro view of, okay, they had injuries and these things went wrong and that's why this happened, it's a little bit more frustrating when you look at it in the microcosm of, you had opportunity against the Bills at home. You had an opportunity against the Jets. Plus, if you look at the early part of the season, after only 6 quarters of Ben Roethlisberger, you still had a chance to beat Seattle. You still had a chance to beat San Francisco. And those are 2 teams that are going to be in the playoffs.
Well, it's also, for the second year in a row now, a lesson going into next year. Hopefully Ben Roethlisberger is back. I guess depending if you want to believe national reports, which national reports or local reports, I certainly expect Ben Roethlisberger to be back and hopefully healthy. They've got to get off to a better start. 1-2-1 last year. We just kept hearing, oh, it's early, it's early, it's early, and they compensated with 7-2-1. But 0-3 was a massive hole that they dug themselves out of. But for as nice of a job as they did to do that, and for as well as they played for an extended stretch, you saw how quickly it disappeared to the point that they couldn't catch the Bills and they couldn't fend off the Titans to now, here we are the final week of the season, and they need help, and they might be watching a Jumbotron somewhere again to see how things are going elsewhere before their own fate is sealed.
And it seems like I don't want to say it's just the Steelers, but more often than not, when they are in that opportunity where they have to rely on someone else, something always seems to go wrong, and in a weird sort of way. I think back to Kansas City, what was it, 6 or 7 years ago? Ryan Suckup.
Well, Ryan Suckup is still screwing them because he was doing so badly with Tennessee, he got himself hurt, and he can't miss field goals for him now. So Ryan Suckup is still killing him in a way.
I think about that with Kansas City, and I think about Cleveland and Baltimore last year, how Baker Mayfield
C.J. Mosley
got him to the doorstep and they couldn't get it done.
I will say, though, you remember 1989, right? 1989, when they needed 3 other things besides their own win to happen, and it did happen. The difference that year is I think only one of the 4 pieces of the formula was an upset. And I don't feel quite as good as the formula this time around. Like I said, I don't know if they go to Baltimore and beat their backups, and I certainly don't have an overwhelming sense of confidence that Houston's potential second stringers will beat Tennessee. I like Tennessee in that game.
Well, we'll talk backups, we'll talk second stringers, we'll talk all that stuff. We'll take a break here. When we come back at the Xfinity News Desk, we'll break a lot of that stuff down. Stick around.
The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, celebrating 25 years as Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters, where honesty and integrity still matter.